Welcome, everybody, to Inner Glow Sessions. Today we have special guest Elena Patrice, and she is the founder of One Parent Wonder, a coaching and mentoring platform created to help single parents heal, rebuild, and raise strong, grounded children. She has lived this life firsthand because she raised her daughter completely on her own, from the sleepless nights to graduation. And along the way, she learned that strength isn't built in the highlight reel moments. It's built in the quiet, unseen ones where you decide to keep going. Her work isn't about being the perfect parent. It's the truth, the messy in between seasons where you're learning, unlearning, and trying to show up better every day for yourself and for your child. Through her weekly One Parent Wonder newsletter, private coaching, and upcoming podcast, she shares what it really looks like to move from survival to strength while still in the middle of it all. There were years when she was exhausted, broke, and trying to hold it all together. Healing herself became the turning point. It's the one thing that changed how she parents, how she loves, and how she leads her life. Now she helps other single parents do the same because being a great parent starts with becoming a whole person. Welcome, Elena.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I
How are you
appreciate that.
today?
I'm wonderful. And you?
I'm great. Yeah.
Good, good. You're always great. So that's good.
I try.
You do a good job.
Thank you. So let's just start with who you are. Start wherever you want. It could be from the beginning because we all have an origin story, or you can start from the messy middle. I'll leave it up
Oh,
to
no,
you.
no. Well, I will be in less than a few months. I'll be 58 years old, and I'm a late in life mother. I became a mother at 38,
Okay.
and that was, it wasn't a plan. It wasn't like I wanted to be a single mom. It just happened that way.
Yeah.
So at 38, I was like, okay. I had lived a life that was very freeing, and I did my own thing, and I was just never thought I was going to be a mom. It just didn't. I didn't think that. And then when I became one, everything changes. Everything changed. And then I was completely on my own and I raised my child on my own. Wasn't the plan, but it happened that way. So I never thought I would be a single mom the entire time. I literally never thought. I thought, oh, somebody along the way,
Oh,
maybe, whatever. But then this could be part of the conversation. I don't want to jump right into it because it may not be significant, but you, as a single parent, don't think, oh, I'm going to do this the whole time by myself. But it turned out that way because there came a point where my child was old enough that she was going to become aware of the choices in this conversation, which is one of the reasons why I really wanted to speak with you and kind of answered your thing was because I was not the perfect person. I wasn't there's so much background and I didn't, when I realized that I came to the point where she was aware enough, I had to make the choice to say, you know what? I have to make myself better before I bring her into this. And she sees or takes the baggage that I had so much of my life. And you don't realize that until, and people are different journeys, but as a mother, I
yeah.
realized it only as a mother. I don't know that I would have realized it had I not been. So she taught me to be aware of everything about myself. It wasn't a journey that I went on. I was always a self-discovery type of person.
Yeah.
But when you're a parent, you really become, because all of a sudden you see things like habits and things, and you're like, oh my, I don't want her to be that person. That's when I talk about healing yourself and
Yeah.
becoming very aware. So that journey from the time she was born until now, she'll be 20 on Valentine's Day, actually.
Ooh, cool.
When she's about, yes. So that journey has been extraordinary. It's been an extraordinary thing. I am not the person I was then to today. I'm a
Yeah.
completely different person. Doesn't mean it's that I was a bad person. I'm just a different person.
Yeah.
And I really did the self-help and the work and everything so that I could be a better parent, which in turn made me a better person for myself. I
Oh,
don't
for
know that
sure.
I ever felt that I had the self-worth to be a better person. I never thought well of myself and all that, I never did. And I struggle with it today, but I've definitely know that I've raised a child that does not have that issue. Let's just put it that way. Very
That's,
self-confident, very happy.
oh, I
Uh,
love that. Yeah.
she the nicest compliment in the world that I could have ever received from her is like, Mom, I've had a great childhood. And I'll tell you, that it even gets me choked up thinking about it because I think I was like, wow, that's so nice to hear. Because I don't know
Yeah.
that I necessarily could have said that, or some other people could have said that,
Yeah.
but I definitely, it's nice. And just real quick background on One Parent Wonder. I just want to say this because I think it's important. It's kind of an odd name, but an odd, I'm not I have to be very clear as a single parent. I'm not this flag waving single parent. I don't think necessarily that's the best path at all. But when I say one parent wonder, it was the wonderment of literally like, how was I going to do this? Like, it
Oh,
wasn't because I was so wonderful or anything. It was absolutely actually kind of different. Like, there's a wonder, like, I wonder how I'm going to do this, or like the wonder of her, like, she was a wonderment to me. So
I love that.
yeah, so that that's the point of that. And saying, and we do wonder as every single day as a parent in general, but as a single parent, you really do. You really wonder, like, how the hell am I going to get to the next day? So that came about, like, it hit me in the middle of the night one day, and I was like, oh, wow. And the greatest compliment as a single parent was saying to me, like, it was just that I raised a great child. Everyone would say, you have such a great child. And I'd be
Yeah.
like, really? And I mean, I think she's great, but somebody to think that, oh my goodness, like I did a great job, really? Which is kind of where we're going to have this conversation where I'm
Yeah.
like, I actually did that, and I don't take credit for her being a wonderful child, but it's nice that somebody could see that because you don't think of the work you do and that it's any
Yeah.
amounts to anything. But then all of a sudden, 20 years later, you're like, wow, okay, and it wasn't the plan, you don't sit there and think, oh, but it kind of just worked out that way. So I just wanted to give you a little bit about that so it made sense.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And also you've already said so much because I've been taking notes because I don't want to forget anything you say.
And I'm,
But
yeah,
but first of all, one thing you reminded me of, one of my early mentors, at the time I met him, he was still a relatively new father. I think his son was like 5 at the time or something. But he was telling us, he was like, one of the best books on parenting, and I hate bringing this up because I don't remember what the book is, but he was saying like the best parenting book, because there's a gazillion out there, right?
yes.
But the best one, and again, I don't know the name or the author, but it wasn't about do XYZ to take care of your kids. It was like about taking care of yourself first and then give to your kids, because being that role model for them is what raising a child is all about. And so it sounds like that's essentially
Yes.
what you have done.
Yes. And it's all about the generational patterns. We all have
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
I mean, there's so many dynamics to that, and it's such a whole different conversation, but it's true. So I was like, that stuff you carry, it I don't care if you're a single parent or a parent, we pass it
Yeah,
on. And that was my whole thing. I was like, mm-mm, no, 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 no. And when you start to see it, I think, and I have to say, as an older parent, I was much more aware. As a younger parent, I don't know that I would have been as aware.
that's true.
And and I would say it's this huge advantage. So I try and tell people who are younger, I'm like, pay attention now. Because when you look back, it's going to be too late to look back and say, okay, because they're going to be molded in a way already,
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean that it's hopeless or whatever, but it's a lot more work. So I was kind of like, ooh, cut myself off at the pass. Oh, I see this pattern. I got to stop it. I mean, and it's about breaking the cycles. It's about healing yourself to make
Yeah.
sure. And so that parenting book, if you ever find that name and that person, let
Yeah,
me know
I
because
need to
that's
look it up.
huge. It's
Okay.
huge,
I
huge.
actually know someone who's connected to that mentor. He would probably know. So I'm gonna
Sure,
look it up.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. That'd be awesome. But that's exactly my whole deal. That's like my whole thing with one parent wonder. Truly especially as a single parent,
Yeah.
because we repeat patterns. I mean, single parenting there's a pattern there, whether we like to admit that or not. I can go back. I mean, I can go back to generations and say that. So it's whether you're an alcoholic, whether you're, this, and that, there's things that you've got to, whether that's a hard pill to swallow, it's the truth.
Well, and that's the very first thing when I truly decided, because I was on this healing path like in my 30s, but in hindsight, it was a lot of like spiritual bypassing type stuff and not
Gosh,
really digging into myself. But when I finally decided like I'm going to work on myself, yeah, you have to face a lot of hard truths about like how you've been contributing to the dysfunction in your life. And it is not easy. But then I was like, oh, this is why I've been avoiding this. And now
yes,
I
yes.
see why
And
other people avoid it. Yeah.
yeah, and it's hard. but there's, I always say to people, you have to be very honest. And then there's two things you have to be. You have to be honest and you have to know the effort that it's going to take because
Yes,
to unwind that
it's not easy.
is not easy. Oh, no, no. And I'm still like daily.
Oh
So,
yeah, like it's
and
a never
it'll be a
ending
lifelong
thing.
journey. Yes,
But
yes,
it is hardest at the beginning. So what is one of
100%.
your what was one of the hardest truths you had to face in the beginning?
Well, this
If
is
you
a
feel
hard,
comfortable, talk
it's a
about
hard one to
it.
say. No,
Yeah.
it's is to be that how many people controlled me. Like
Mm,
the controlling factors of my life, where I was
yeah.
like, oh no, you didn't see that. Like everything in my life was about that. And that I never saw until I was speaking with somebody. I was going through a very bad period in my life, and I was speaking to a counselor who I never had done anything like that, but I was at a very, like, literally on the edge of everything. And those 3 months I spent with her were the best 3 months of my life. But I was not a mom at the time, though, either.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And this was probably 4 years before that. I was going through a terrible divorce and I needed to get away from a bad situation. So I remember that she pointed that out at me and she's like, it's not just that person that's controlling. And I'm like, what? What? Like, no, they're not controlling. And so I see that pattern and I see it. And I was like, ay, ay, ay. And I'm not when I used to say I'm a control freak in my business, I run it. So I would say I'm a control freak, but I'm not like, a crazy person. But I'm not by nature that way. A lot of
Yeah.
people would dispute that and say that's not true, but I'm not. I mean, even my child, I'm not a especially as a parent. I mean, I'm a measured person, but I'm not controlling.
Yeah.
So the controlling part was huge
So
because you have
what
to
was beneath that? Did you have a fear of uncertainty or
say that again. Say that
like
again. I
what was
apologize.
beneath
But
your control? Was it a fear of uncertainty or because there's always something that's driving that?
well, it's goes back. It's the people pleasing, the
You already
the
know. Yeah.
to the point. Oh my God,
I
to
know a
this
lot about
day.
that.
And I know, and that's why I was like, you and I need to talk
Yeah.
because it is so, so true. And I say I've made thousands of percent progress or whatever, but I do. That's an ugly thing that
Oh,
comes up.
yeah. I always say that I'm like 80% recovered, and my goal is to never be 100% because that's just expecting perfection, which is so unrealistic. Because
Yeah.
I still have moments where I'm like, oh, I could have done better. But
But
I'm not as bad as I
hearing you
used to
say
be.
that great makes me feel comfortable and really offers me comfort because I still think I'm such a failure because I haven't overcome that. I mean, but I'm not, I'd say I was like 60, 70. I'm not 80, but no, I mean, but yeah, no, no,
I
no.
think anything over, even if like 51%, like when I cross that 50% threshold, I'm like, okay, good. I'm like so much
Yeah.
better now.
Oh no. So no, you can, so that is the thread.
But you bring up a really good point because I think this is the really harsh truth about people pleasing that nobody talks about. People pleasing at its core is actually manipulative and controlling because you're trying to get other people to like you.
To approve of you.
Yeah.
Yes. And to say, oh, you did okay. And you're like, and it's something like, I'm sorry, you won't get most of the time.
Yeah.
And you'll forever, and it's so frustrating because I'm like polar opposite with people. I will tell you how great you are all day long and give you all the praise you'll ever need
Yeah.
because I just think people, that's such a great thing. And I see that in everyone or everything. You can give me the worst situation. I'm going to find the nicest, best part of it. But
Yeah.
that's because of probably that situation where I was like, you're the one or you are the opposite. In my world, that's how it is for sure.
Yeah. I feel like that's usually the case, right? Because again, like these patterns, they're ingrained. First of all, they're ingrained emotionally, generationally. But I also saw something the other day. They're in your DNA as far as your grandparents, because, like, so
Wow.
for example, when my mom was in my grandmother's womb, she had developed like her internal organs and stuff, which is technically
Yes.
where you came from. So it's
Yes.
also embedded in your DNA. So it's like, yeah, you can either repeat the patterns or break out of them.
Yes. And that's interesting because what you said, I have done some research on that, and there's just such an interesting conversation in it itself.
Yeah,
So when you have that, then you really realize the stronghold. Like that again, that's more than effort. That is like life altering.
yeah,
And to know that you have all these things you must do, or these, I wouldn't say strikes, but these things that are like binding you, it makes it all that. So it's not like, oh, it's just easy. We'll get over. So it is a continuous edge, continuous, I wouldn't say battle because we're past the battle part, but we're not like
yeah.
the maintenance part of saying, yeah, I slipped. I got it. It's part of the program.
Well, and especially because, these patterns, like we learn them from our parents. And generally, when you're a child or teenager, you don't know any better. So that's 18 years of just living your life a certain way. And nobody ever tells you otherwise. And even once you get out in the real world, everyone else is living their dysfunctional lives. And I think it is better now in terms of like Instagram and there being more self-help education available, but still I don't feel like younger generations are really getting fed that information intentionally. So then you still get like these patterns developing and you're not like quote unquote waking up until like much later in life.
And what you just said is key. So, like with my child, because I was, again, I'm going to always go back to this older thing because I do think it was an advantage, is I have been able to have very, very, very honest conversations with my daughter all
Yeah,
along. And I'm a funny person. My daughter is 20, but she's not, I'm not, I wasn't one of these, like, I'm your best friend, mom. I'm not that at
yeah. I
all.
think that's kind of unhealthy. What do you
It
think?
is, it
Okay.
is. Trust me, it is. And I was not like I wasn't so like staunch, like kept her in a bubble either. So I had to find this very, very unique balance because I know her personality. She is part of me. I knew her personality and I would watch and go, ooh, that's so much like me. And I knew how that worked with me or whatever, the good and the bad. And then you have to, it was the navigation. And that's why I think for single parents, I would say you cannot rest, you cannot do the things, you can't live a normal life that somebody would say a two-parent family that's in sync would, because you are both, and you're not going to be able to be the, hey, I get to be the good parent or I get to be this. So you have to be both. But so with my daughter, I'm going to say Eve, that's her name. With her, I had to learn how to have those conversations and say, this is a part of me that I'm not, to address the times that I was like going off the rails or this or that. And she's one of the most, I would say, well-grounded people I know. Like when she talks to other people, I'm like, man, Eve, if I knew what I was with what you know now, if I knew at that age, my life would have been different. But again, that's the way it is. So my point in saying that is I taught her along the way so that she didn't just what you say, go wander aimlessly in the world and like go off the rails, this and that. I was going without any kind of roadmap.
Yeah.
She has a roadmap. So when she hits those things, I'll say, I've already told you. I'm not stopping her, but I'm warning her and saying,
Yeah.
wait, wait, there's red flags here. We need to worry about this. And she'll come to me and talk about it, which is awesome. Like
Yeah.
she will
Honestly, that's
100% do that.
amazing. Yeah.
It's like, oh, I thank God every day because when she does that, I'm like, oh, good. She just didn't do that without. And I don't want to know, like, I don't want to know sordid details, but I want to know that I'm always there for her. That she could
Yeah.
say, let's talk about this and I'll say, well, when I was in this or whatever. So that's where that communication is vital,
Yeah.
vital. That's what changes the future.
Yeah, because I had the kind of parents where it wasn't really safe to go to them for much
No,
things. And that kind of like contributed to my dysfunction because then it's like
huge.
I had,
Yeah.
to your point, like I had no roadmap and I was just kind of like fumbling through things. And
I'm like,
so,
how the hell was I supposed to know? I didn't
yeah,
know. I'm like, I mean, I even say this now. I'm like, I didn't have a clue. So yeah, yeah. And then there is that line that you cross where you're too much controlling of your child's life and like they
yeah,
have to do this and they have to do that. I'm like, no, she's free. She can figure it out. But I'll tell her and then she makes her choices. Of course, at a certain age, you did that. When she was younger, I didn't let her do that and so much. You were just like,
right.
no, there's boundaries, but they have to be super healthy boundaries. I mean, that word is a very popular word, but it's a very vital word.
Oh, yeah. Well, and earlier, I have to reflect this back to you. Earlier in the conversation, you specifically said like I don't take credit for like who she is as
Mm.
a person, but I think you played a huge role in who she is as a person. And again, she
Mm,
is her
yeah,
own person, but I
yeah.
do think you have played a big role in that.
It's hard to take, I obviously I do. I don't think overthink it because again, I'm really funny about that kind of stuff. I don't give credit for anything or take credit for anything. But yes, I think as she goes out into this world, I don't like the word pride, but I'm happy. Like I am happy, and I believe if I died tomorrow, I did what I was supposed to do on this earth. That I was like, okay, this child can go out and she's going to be a great person in the world.
Hmm.
I mean, that I will, I'm like, good.
Yeah, we definitely need more good people in this
Yes,
world.
yes, oh, definitely.
But also going back to something you said earlier, because you said having a child later in life wasn't part of the plan. But is there any part of you in hindsight that's like, well, maybe this was the plan, even though it's not how you envisioned it? Because it not only did it put you on your healing journey, but now you've created this human being who definitely has the potential to do good in this world. And like I just said, I think the world needs way more good people. So do you still feel like it wasn't part of the quote unquote
And
plan?
that's a really nice part that you brought up because it's a very true statement. I look at anything prior to her and I think one change would have changed everything.
I do
And
that too.
I'm like, oh, I thank God. I'm so grateful every day that it worked out this way. And I have to, it's a weird thing. I have to say this because but pre-Eve, when I look back, and I had a very interesting, what I thought was an interesting life. I'd done some really great things and had a very unique life or whatever. But I have to tell you, I don't think about it at all. I only think about from
Mm.
her forward. And that is my life's work, and everything that I do matters to me. Past means nothing to me. It doesn't, I mean, I have to look back and it wasn't as glorious and glamorous and all those things that I thought either, but I don't discount it. I just don't even acknowledge it. And I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah, I don't know either because I tend to do
Yeah.
that too. Well, for me, I feel like if I look too far back, then I tend to start dwelling on things
Yes,
and again
yes,
going through that thought
yes.
process, well, like, oh, I should have changed this, I should have changed that. So for me, it's like I just don't even want to go there, so I'm just going to focus on where I'm going.
Yeah.
So,
And I don't go back thinking like, oh, it was horrible. I just think, you know what? This is the journey. And I always say she saved me from so much. Like just her birth saved me from probably a train wreck like no other, or
yeah.
just my self-worth. And what I say to people, and you could appreciate this just by what you do and what you say is, and people always go, well, you have to learn to love yourself. And I'm like, well, sometimes that's not doesn't come from ourselves.
Yeah.
It came from her. Me loving her made me realize that I had to love myself enough to do the work. So if that makes sense, I valued myself enough at that point because I needed to make sure that I was taking care of her. So in a way, it was like reverse. And
Yeah.
now I was like, I'm like, oh, and now I have a much easier time than saying that because I kind of like myself, where I
Yeah.
didn't before or didn't care. And I look at her, and of course, I worry about her self-esteem. And I'm thinking, oh, you know what? I mean, and when she was younger, I caught myself with her. I was like, don't say that. Don't say that you're
Oh,
mad at yourself.
good.
Don't say that. Because now, like, that child doesn't, and she's not an arrogant person at all, but she does not suffer from self-esteem issues,
Oh,
like,
that's
at all.
amazing, especially as a 20-year-old
Oh,
female.
no kidding. Oh, I know. Even in her teens, I never worried about it. She
Oh,
was just
wow.
very, very secure. There's the word. It comes from security. It doesn't come from confidence. It
Right.
comes from stability and security. And for single parents, that's what I try and tell them. You give them a stable environment, a secure environment, you're going to be totally okay.
Yeah. Oh, I love that advice.
It makes all the difference in the world because when you're not secure or things aren't certain, you're seeking something to give you that.
Yeah. Oh, and on that note, because I like what you said, because again, before I started my healing journey in earnest, I used to read a ton of self-help books and things like that. And to your point, it was like, you have to love yourself first. And when you're coming from a point, like in hindsight, I can truly say that I hated myself. At the
Yep.
time, I never would have said that, but in hindsight, it's like, whoa, I really hated myself. Um,
I'm sure I get
so
it.
I totally agree with what you're saying. It does have to come from yourself first, but there are situations where, yeah, you need a little nudge from the external world to like rev up your internal motor.
Yes.
So it can be hard when you have like these black or white messages that are like, you have to do it this way, or,
Hmm.
or there's another one I don't like is like, you have to forgive other people to heal. I don't like that one either because it's just so black and white and
Yeah.
like
And
forgiveness and healing. It's just like such a complicated process, and there's no one way for every single person.
I agree with that statement as well. I think everybody's journey is different. It's
Yeah.
different. And we all, again, we don't know where your starting point is. So somebody's starting point could be halfway
Yeah.
of mine, or, it just depends on the level. So that's a very interesting thing. And I think that's key to sharing with other people, obviously.
Yeah. I
Something I
actually
share
might
with
make
my
a
child.
post on that.
You should, because that's a very, very
Yeah,
valid point.
because you reminded me, because I remember I struggled with that a lot when I hated myself and I was trying to like read these books and stuff because it's like I had nothing of self-love within me. So it's like you can't just generate from nothing. I had to get my first boost. It came from outside of myself and someone showed me that I deserved to be loved. And that was like, okay, like now I understand how this all works. But I
That's
did need that boost from the outside.
And mine was from the outside, even like along the way, along the journey of my life up until leave. I think that would be very much the same way where it was so foreign to me. And I'd be like so skeptical, like, really?
Yeah.
It's not that easy, number one. And, and I still carry that or whatever. And I'm like, And it was always just, I get what you say. It's so funny because I've never honestly spoken to another person who actually used the word and said, I hate myself. I mean, but I hated myself. And that's a
Yeah.
horrible thing to ever say to anybody. And I'm like, it bothers me that I would even ever have said that about myself.
Yeah.
You talk about mentors. There's a mentor that I have and love, and one of their things was like, and it was so sobering when I heard it. And it was like, when would you say to the little boy or the little girl that you were that you hated yourself? Like, I hate
Yeah.
myself. Like, if my child at 5 or 6 had ever said that, I think I would have just fallen into the floor and been a puddle of mess.
I
So
know. It
why
just
would
makes
I
me want to
say
cry
that?
thinking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
I'm like, why would I say that about myself? And when I heard that, it kind of made me go, oh, I've said that about myself. I've said that myself as a young person and as an adult. And I'm thinking, but I would never say that to somebody
I
or
know.
allow somebody to say that in front of me about themselves. So why would I do that? Which is like, that's another hard pill to swallow. I'm like, but that's helped me. It has helped me a lot. So those are the things I remember and go, okay. So it does come from the outside many, many times. What
Yeah.
you're doing, it's good work. I'm like, that's what makes, they're going to remember something like that.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So,
That's like so deep.
but
I love that.
it's, yeah, yeah,
Well, and another thing I feel like you were being too modest about was because you were talking about the concept of one parent wonder, which I do want to get more into what that is later, but just
sure.
the title, because I was thinking it was like Wonder Woman as in superhero, but I think there also is a component of that to it because it does because well, first of all, let's go back. You've been single the entire time you've been a
Yes,
mother.
yes,
So, yeah, I mean, so you're
yes.
basically doing two roles in one
Oh, yes.
and yeah, holding down
Yeah, I mean,
everything
yeah,
else.
yes. Running a business, trying to be, yeah, there's a lot. Yeah. Yeah, but I still don't think of it that way. And it's funny, but I will say that I don't think of it that way for me, but if it makes another parent do that, I want to be so honest when I say this and transparent is um it's not easy being a single parent. And
Yeah.
I'm not celebratory in that because I think that's part of the problem in a way. And without
Yeah.
being this weird space and people go, yeah, there's a ton of us. Yeah, there are. But does it have to always be that way? It doesn't always have to be that way. And
Yeah.
no, there's no, one answer to it, but I will not be the person that goes, I'm not that type of a person. It's like, well, it's not me because I'm not like, oh, single parent, blah, blah, blah. And you know why? One of the biggest reasons, and I'm just going to say, one of the biggest reasons is, ugh, and this is probably going to upset certain people, but it's the majority of parents, single parents, let's be honest, are single women. They are women.
Hmm.
However, there's a lot of single dads. And I think in my space and in my well before I started this or was one on my own, I saw a lot of great single dads, and I do not think that that's the same play. So it's a very different world. So when we go women, when it's always single mom, single mom, single moms, I'm like, but wait a second, they're single dads. So that's why this is a coming. That's why it's one parent wonder, not one mom wonder or whatever. I'm very,
Mm.
very funny about that
I
because
love that.
I've
Yeah,
seen
because we don't
so
think
many great
about the
ones.
single dads, right?
No, no. And it bothers me because, and it was interesting. I came across a gentleman who was a single dad, and I was having a conversation with him when I was starting this whole thing. And I was telling him some of my vision. And I remember he looked very like emotional when I was talking to him. He's like, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a single dad. And he goes, and for somebody to even say that, he goes, it's something that
Mm.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate. And it really was like, and the other weird dynamic is, the Wonder Woman part, they're like, wow, there she's the powerhouse. But then the guy is more celebrated as, kind of in a different way, like, hey, there's this whole like single dad hot movement, which is so bizarre to me. And like they're kind of in a whole different realm as the single moms. Like then somebody called them the Disney dads or whatever. And I'm thinking, well, that's super disrespectful, but I'm thinking, but I get it, because it's how society's portraying that. So it's this very odd space. So I'm trying to make it where let's not, we don't have to like make that our label either way. Let's just try and get better our kids. Like, don't make the label either way, if that makes sense.
Oh, that makes a ton of sense. Also, this made me think of, do you, do you remember the TV show Blossom? Excuse me, Blossom with
Yes,
Maya Bialik.
yes, yes.
So she has a podcast and she doesn't talk about Blossom a lot, but, and this was maybe like 6 months ago, she was talking about Blossom and how, excuse me, I'm choking. At the time, because it really wasn't a popular show. Like it never went into syndication. Um,
Yes.
I can't remember like all the details. I loved it, so I never realized like all the nuances about it. Also, I was like a little bit younger, so I wouldn't like have some of the realizations that she was talking about, but like it never went into syndication. It really wasn't that popular of a show compared to other shows at the time. And
Sure.
but she was talking about like the dynamic of it was kind of like I don't know what the word would be, but like at the time, people like would talk about single mothers, but even then, it's kind of like risque for like that time
Yes.
period. But that
Yes.
show is about a single dad raising kids, and I think it never really caught on
Yes.
culturally because it was just such like a weird concept
An
for
enigma.
everybody.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
very, yes, yes. Interesting. You just made me remember that because I was like, wow, that is exactly right. So interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of time, well, like when and I'm gonna really show my age here, like not Father Knows Best. It was I can't remember the other one. It was about a gentleman who was raising his two kids, and they had an uncle. I can't remember Uncle Frenchie. I do remember that.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like the mom died, or something like that. It wasn't like actually like, hey, it worked out this way. So it was always culturally brought up in a different way. So now it's like people think, oh, his wife must have, this or that. And I'm
Oh,
like, well, really?
yeah, because you
Interesting.
probably deal with single dads, like the wife abandons the family. I actually worked with someone once, and she was older than me. So this would have been, again, back when it was not the social, I don't think it is the
Yeah.
social norm ever for a
Yeah.
woman to walk away from her children. But yeah, her mom abandoned the family. And I'm like, whoa,
Mm.
that is insane. Because that's like talked about even less. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and people don't realize. I mean, it does. I mean, no, it's not statistically the high numbers, but it does exist. So that's why I'm very funny again about this whole like, single parenthood. The why I don't celebrate that as far as even with what I've done or
Mm,
whatever. I don't because I think, wow, there's a lot of circumstances here, and there are a lot
that
of
makes so
people
much
that aren't
sense.
getting the same thing. You
Yeah.
know, it's weird, but yeah,
I get what you're saying, but it's also the whole concept of taking a situation that you may be a victim of because you didn't create
sure,
it on your own,
sure.
but you're still because you can either like stay in that victim mentality of like this is happening to me and not
Hmm.
really doing anything to change it, but it sounds like you're working with the people who are like, okay, like I'm in this situation, it's not
Let's
ideal, I may not have contributed to all the circumstances, but I want to turn it around and do the best that I can. So there
100%.
is like that superhero element to that
Yes,
aspect of
yes.
it.
And so how I look at it is when I try and say I'm a champion of single parents, meaning I'm going to cheer you and push you on and say we can do this. Not to say I'm celebrating what this is, but saying we can raise better kids
Yeah.
while I'm healing myself to ensure that maybe the next generation doesn't have to go through or repeat that pattern. That's what it is. And yes, and what you just said is so profound and so true. And appreciate you saying that because it is exactly. And I always say I'm a very proactive person. I do not wallow in what whys or what happens. We just need to take what you have right here and we need to get to that next space.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, but it was part of the healing. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, you got to do that work, but while we're doing that work, we still got to do this work because it's a twofold process. I mean, you can't say, well, when I fix myself, then I'm going to fix my kid. No, it's hand in hand.
Yeah.
I mean, because
Yeah, I
it's
love that you
daily.
word it that way because yeah, sometimes people think you have to do one or the other, but it's both at the same time.
It has to be. In that situation, it 100% has to be. You
Yeah.
don't have that luxury, if you will, to say, I have all the time to go find out who I am. It is not going to happen. I mean, I don't know that I ever would have.
Yeah, plus you could spend the rest of your life doing that and probably not even
Yes,
figure it out.
yes, yes. And sometimes this it can paralyze you. You just stay where you are. And then
Yeah.
there's like, no, no, the world's going on without you. I mean, it has to, especially as your child grows. It's not like you can say, oh, can you stay six for the next 6 years? It's not going to happen. So, yeah, that's a reality.
So in what capacity are you working with people? Is it one-on-one,
Yeah,
in
I do.
group,
Yes, yes. And I'm trying to build the group part of it because I think that's important. I think, just that
community?
community of people. Yes. And on a local level in my area is much easier to do that, but I want to do it on a bigger scale of doing that. I think, and I want men and women involved because I want, both sides, but again, it's always from a very positive and proactive point. Like, it's never going to be like the negative aspect of it and saying it say, okay, well, you have this problem. Let's talk about solutions here, that kind of thing. But one-on-one, absolutely.
Yeah, I know that's what I struggle with communities sometimes because it turns into just complaining. And it's
Yes,
like,
yes.
okay,
Yep.
like
Yeah,
let's
we
empower
can't.
each
Nah,
other.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And to be fair, if you have, let's say, ratio, if I have eight single moms and two single dads, there's going to be some tension there because just they're going to have their own thought process. Oh,
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. So I'm very careful about that. And I respect it. I mean, we're again talking about different journeys. Some people haven't forgiven that situation, or some people are still in, or they're dealing with
Yeah.
the, guy, the ex, male or female, that's driving them. Not, I mean, I get it. So I didn't have to deal with that. So, but I was raised in it. I,
I
I get
almost
it.
said that earlier. I was like, well, it's better, and not that I'm like comparing situations,
Yeah.
but like at least you don't have to co-parent with some Yahoo or
No,
you
and I
know.
made that a very conscious choice. And
Yeah.
I've been very honest with my child. I made that a choice. I was like, you know what? That's not going to be this at best circumstances. Let's just not deal with that. And I'm fortunate that I didn't because I was, again, older enough to see down that road. And I had been in that situation when I was younger and I knew it was going to happen. And you could say, well, that wasn't guaranteed. Well, you kind of statistically, you're going to know, like,
Yeah.
there's reasons why. So I wanted to avoid that at all possible situations. I wanted to avoid that.
Yeah, and I love that because think of how many people are not intentionally raising their kids that way. Well, even like my parents, they stayed together for the kids, and I think that caused me way more emotional harm
Way
than
more.
if they just would
Yeah.
have gotten divorced.
And that's how I was raised up until a point where they finally did. But yeah, it has a huge thing, a huge
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, and that's why I was like, mm-mm. So I always say that, I'm a single parent. I was a product of divorce. I was divorced. I was raised, I went to a remarry, like my mom remarried. I was a
Mhm.
stepchild. I had step siblings. So every
Yeah,
situation that you've
that's
put me in, the man I was married to had kids, so I was a stepmom. So you put me in every scenario like that, and I can tell you everything about it because and does that I feel that qualifies me. I don't like to use that word, but it does qualify me to talk to you about it
yeah.
because I do understand it. I understand it more than probably most because I was very, very keenly aware. Even as a child, I was such a keenly aware person. It doesn't mean I made the right choices at all.
Oh
It
yeah.
just I knew that I was making the bad choices, but that was my punishment because I didn't like myself. So it's this, but I was aware. I was aware, very aware,
Yeah.
and I knew what I didn't like, and I knew what was dysfunctional, and all those things. So I can talk to people about that. And like, there's nothing you can throw at me that says that I haven't had some experience with it.
Yeah.
So good, bad, or indifferent.
What is your biggest challenge now as a single parent?
Wow. I wouldn't say letting go because I don't have to let go. Um, my single now it's weird because I don't know that I would say that I have that much of a challenge.
Oh,
I would
that's
say
good.
that it's kind of like opposite. Like I am able to do so many things now because I don't have the same she still obviously lives with me, she works and things like that, but I don't have the I wouldn't say there's many challenges. I'm in a very, very, very exciting part of my life where I'm able to give back to other people and do other things now rather than a total I mean, I was always spread too thin. Is again the people pleasing. Anybody who needed my time, I volunteered.
Yeah,
I mean, 20,000 things. But now I would say I'm at a very, very good point. So it's kind of exciting that I'm at this point. I
I
have to
love that.
say, I was telling her last night because we do these random drives and we were just driving and I was saying, Eve, I am so excited about the future, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, Mom, I'm so happy for you, blah, blah. And so we're excited because she's doing her thing and I'm doing mine. So we're both, she's starting a business and it's just
Oh,
really
she is?
cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so
So,
cool.
yeah. So we're right in it's a really kind of an exciting time.
What
But
is your business? Are you allowed to talk about that?
oh yeah,
Okay.
she's doing starting an organization and cleaning business, so which is kind of cool.
Oh, that is
She's
really
already has
cool.
several clients, so she's done,
Wow.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love
and
that.
she's she gets, yeah, she's definitely an entrepreneur. I mean, that, and then I didn't think she would be because when she was younger, she didn't want anything about that, but that's my whole life. So now, yeah, so it's nice to see, and she's great client people. She's a great people person, so it works out well for her. So we'll
Does she
see.
does she do remote work? I need my closet organized so
She
bad.
would do it. See, that's the kind of stuff she does.
Okay, we might need to
You're so
I
funny.
might need to get
Yeah.
her. No, I hired I'll just make this really brief, but
Sure.
I
No, you're fine.
have you heard of California Closets?
Yes, yes, yes,
So
yes.
I hired them for a consultation and the designs they gave me, first of all, they are not cheap.
No.
They gave me three different options and they were all just rearranging of my same design. I was like, no, I need more storage space. I don't know what you don't understand about that.
Oh, wow. No, I've had experience with them. You're right. And no. And
So I'm
you're,
like, why
there's
would I pay you,
to
whatever, thousands
that
of dollars for just a rearrangement of what I
arrangement of
already
my,
have?
exactly. You need more storage. Oh, that's funny. That's what she does. So you're
Okay,
funny.
yeah, we'll talk later.
So yeah. But yeah.
I feel like I was going to ask you something else. Oh, you're starting a podcast or
Yes, yes, I am. It's again that nervous part of me. I have,
yeah.
I'm not a huge social media person. So, and that's part of when I deal with the single parents and stuff, it's such a problem with so many people. So I try not, I know obviously it's the way to be out there and it's obviously the best marketing or whatever, but I, it's just hard for me because I'm just adamantly against certain things on it. But the podcast is like this. I love this.
Yeah.
And if I can get this across, I'm going to be launching it. It was supposed to launch last year, but I've kicked that can down the road. But I am going to be doing it in the month of what I'm in February. It will be happening in February. I already have
Okay,
some guests
good.
lined up, and yeah.
Because that's why I wanted to bring it up because yeah, there's like, think of all the single parents who would benefit. Because even just in our conversation, there's so many things that you've said, and I'm not a single parent, but there's so many things that you've said that I'm like, I kind of want to like dig into deeper, but we don't have 5 hours to talk
Sure, sure.
about it. But like, but no, like, if you had your own podcast just to go in deep on some of these topics, that would be amazing.
And that's kind of the idea. And then I think once I break that seal, I'll be totally okay. But
Yeah.
it's like pushing it. I'm like, what your conversation is, I'm going to tell my daughter. She's like, see, Mom, you need to do this. Because she's always saying, just when I started my newsletter and stuff, it was so like, oh, once I did it, it was like, oh, that wasn't that bad.
I
I
know I
mean,
do that all the time. Like I procrastinate and then once I do it, I'm like, why was I
yeah,
like doing this?
exactly. And I can roll with it. And I'm thinking, but again, it's that perfection. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You're thinking it has to be this, it has to be that. And then I can throw up 10,000. I'm just like, just do it. It's gonna suck at maybe the first one. Who knows? I don't know. It could be great. I have no idea. But once it does, I mean, if it's like this, I'll be in freaking heaven. I'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, this is easy.
I mean, just knowing you, like once you get talking to people, you'll be fine.
Yeah, thank you.
Also, I just
And I hope
posted something on Instagram today because a lot of people don't know this, but you just said it. Procrastination is actually a byproduct of perfectionism.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And
So
I will
thank you
go and
for
comment
bringing
on
that
that.
up.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but it's true. So I'm
Yeah.
like, because it was so funny because when I spoke to you initially, I was like, oh, don't, there is no perfection here. Like I am the worst person in that. And I think, and so much of and it bothers me. You said something like, once you do it, you're just like, why did it take so long? Like,
Yeah.
why, so this is the last thread of One Parent Wonder that has to go to that live point where I'm like, okay, everything can turn around by then, and I can, and it is at the end of the day, I just have to say, I do want to help people. That's all it is for me. I don't care
Yeah.
the glory. There's nothing else that I want to sit there except because I have a huge like it always makes me emotional thinking about it because I have a huge heart for people who are in that and and I it bothers me because I know how they feel and I always want to say you're going to get past this
Yeah.
and you're going to blink and your child is going to be grown. I remember when I was pregnant with Eve and I would think like, oh, am I going to how can I afford school? Where am I going to put her? I don't want to put I mean, I remember being a basket case because I was already thinking about school. And then when I got her in school, I was like, oh my gosh, 12 more years of this. I'm like, oh my, this is such like torture. And she went to I didn't put her in the public school system. I was like, I had to afford where I was going to put her. And I remember, and then all of a sudden I was like, where did those years go?
Yeah.
Just like that. Just like that. And I always tell people, you have no idea. You have no idea how quick it's that song Blink. You're gonna blink. And then and we talk and it's funny. I will say this. Eve is more aware of it than I am. She's like, Mom, where did those years go? And she's like, I
Ah,
miss that. I mean, she's very, very nostalgic. Like
wow.
it makes me sad. Sometimes I'm like, Eve, and she's like, I just want to hold on to that or whatever. And I'm thinking, oh, Eve, but I think a lot of it has to do with technology and time because time is at a very warp
Oh,
speed
yeah.
and they don't have like what I had like the 1970s and never we didn't have all the stuff to just to take our minds off of things. So
Yeah.
for her it goes by quicker, but so that part of it is just it's interesting to me. So that that whole thing is just funny to see her like that instead of me so
Yeah.
much. It's more her in that way. I just am like, yeah, it did go by quick, and it does. And I just want to tell people, you hang in there. And one piece of advice, and I keep jumping, but there's
No, I
one
love this though. Because
when I
there's so
had
many things. I'm like, oh my
You're so
God.
funny. One of a very good friend of mine, when I was pregnant, I remember her saying to me, I wouldn't say I wasn't a happy pregnant person, but I was a very neurotic, meaning I had so much I had to do. I was in a business and I didn't
Mm,
have any of this. So I was kind of not like the most like, oh, I can't wait to have a baby. I wasn't like that. I'm not that way anyway. So when she came, I just remember thinking that day, the moment she was born, literally everything changed from 1 second. The moment I heard her cry, I was like, my entire life changed. And I couldn't imagine loving something or someone
yeah.
as much as that. I couldn't believe I had the capacity. And I remember this friend looking at me saying, "Oh, Elena," she's like, "it only gets better. Every season, everything gets better." And I remember looking at her going, "I can't imagine. I can't imagine me loving somebody more." But
Yeah.
that is a true statement. And I want to look at every single person and go, it gets better and better and
Oh,
better. And now, like the way I love her now, it's so amazing because I get to love her as an adult
yeah.
who is this amazing spirit. So that if nothing else, hold on to that because it just and as bad as some of your own personal things are, and the sleepless nights doesn't compare to what the love that you like that will grow exponentially to like I can't even imagine the capacity is insane. I'm like, how does not all parents feel this? I can't even imagine. And maybe I'm different in that, but I
Yeah.
don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. And also, I truly think it was part of the plan that she was born on Valentine's Day, because that's
Yeah.
just like such a loving day.
Yes. Because I look at it so different now. Like people talk about Valentine's, I'm like, no, it's her birthday and it's the day of love. And I'm so weird about it because I'm like, oh, it's the happiest day of the year for me. And it was funny growing up, I hated it. I was like,
Yeah.
ugh, and now I'm like, oh, it's the best. So and
But
it's funny.
there's like a larger point in this too, because I used to always ask parents, like, how do you have any money? Because, like, first of all, some days I can barely take care of myself. And other days I'm like, I don't have any extra money to take care of another human being. But the one response that I always get, it's in this form somehow. It's not these exact words, but it's like, you just figure it out.
Yeah.
So I like how you like kind of like basically you package that up in the same, it's basically stating the same thing, because like you can worry about all these things and how I'm going to pay for school or whatever, but when it comes you just figure it out.
I don't know if I should say this because I thought it was so funny, but it's so irreverent, but it's such a true statement. And it's not, you don't have to worry about what I'm about to say, but I saw this, I saw this comment and somebody goes, you know, a crack addict never has a problem finding crack. They just get it. And when they want it, they get it. And it was kind of like talking about money and
Yeah,
success. They were just like, they don't think about it. They just get it. And I'm thinking to myself, that's so true.
it is true.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm thinking it's the same kind of thing. Like when I needed stuff for Eve, no matter what, I got it. I figured it out. So you do, and it's the same concept. You do figure it out. Do I say that I went in debt? Heck yes, I did. Am I saying I'm getting out of it? But again, that right there, when I say when I went in debt, there's because I didn't wasn't smart and not knowing how to financially, I wasn't a financial person. So
Yeah.
what a part of what I talk about with people too is you don't have to, and being a very honest and fair person, single parents are in the lower spectrum of economics because they
Mm,
can't, because of what they carry.
yeah.
So it's harder for them. So I was like, well, let's help you get out of that. So that added worry, because that was as much of a worry to me as if my child was getting sick. It was like, how the hell was I going to afford anything? So
Uh-huh.
now it's like the cleanup work. I'm still, doing that, but I don't recommend anybody going into debt doing it. But you do what you have to do
Yeah.
and you figure it out. And it's that is a challenge. And it was a challenge for me because I didn't get any help. I mean, I didn't get any financial help. So that part of it is another, dynamic that I really deal with people on and go, let's do this in obviously legal ways. So I'm kidding.
Yeah. Um, Also, I feel like we're conditioned as a society to look at debt as a bad thing, but leveraging debt in smart ways is actually very smart. And especially, it's one thing to put childcare expenses on a credit card versus going to the Gucci store and buying a few
100%.
handbags and putting that
100%.
on your credit card. Yeah.
100%. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, be forgiving of yourself. You've done what you had to do. And believe me, I
Yeah.
did not live that life. And like, I mean, it's kind of a messed up thing in society that people kind of promote some of that to sometimes. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. No, because I told Eve, I was like, I didn't get a car. I didn't move. I didn't do certain things because I paid for her school. So
Yeah.
there's like give and take, and that's why I kind of say now is where it gets to be more, I wouldn't say fun, but it's a little looser for me because I don't have those same expenses and
Yeah.
I'm paying off now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now I'm not saying, oh, I get to go on vacation or whatever. I just don't have that worry, that
Yeah.
same worry of like, what the heck? And it's a worry. I don't care who you are, it's a worry. Like it's a worry. Sometimes they have to worry about how they're going to get food on the table, like literally. And that's just a hard, like on top of everything else, that's hard.
Yeah.
And I can't say that, I've experienced it all. So yeah, it's, yeah.
Well, if someone wants to work with you or get in touch with you, what's the best way to reach out and
Oh, just
learn more?
oneparentwonder.com. You can
Nice.
just, and
Keep it easy.
any of the social, yeah, it's very easy, very easy. And I encourage people to sign up for my newsletter. It will show up on my on my thing, because those are just like, it's a weekly, I wouldn't say inspirational, it's actionable things you could
Oh,
take as
I
a
like
single parent.
that.
And that's what I want. I was like, well, this isn't about woo hoo hoo, but it's like, let's see, let's take this and the steps. So yes, and it's not even 2 months old, but that's my purpose of it. And then, yeah, you could totally reach out to me that way and super easy. And I am working and I'm not trying to plug this, but I am, so it kind of all ties together as I am working on a book for single
Ooh,
parents. So about this whole process of healing, of taking my experience and saying, this, because I think it's kind of like a guidebook on that type thing
yeah,
and where we are, because there are, again, it goes back to the book you were talking about earlier. I mean, it's very much based on that really, like talking about, I always say self-repair is the best form of self-care. It
yes.
isn't, it's repairing yourself. It isn't the woohooey, like, like whatever stuff. It is the real dirty work of really repairing yourself. That is the best form of self-care. It's the best thing I ever did for myself. And that's the best form of self-love when you really want to do that.
I love that because, yeah, I don't think there's a lot of like quote unquote parenting books that are focused on the actual parent, and that's where it
Yeah.
starts. So I love
Yes,
that
and
you're
it
doing
does.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna do that. Every time I say that to somebody, I'm like pushing myself saying, I told her I'm gonna do it.
I
So
know
I
that's the
have
best.
started on it.
No, that's the
Yeah.
best way because I will keep you
Yeah.
accountable. Trust me.
And I am working on it. Yes. And then I'm like, okay, I do it deliberately because that's like the fear. So yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I feel like I could talk to you for 5 more hours.
Oh, I know. And I'm like, as soon as I met you, I was like, I need to know her because you just have a great spirit and you're just a lovely person. And I appreciate you allowing me this time with you.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
Great, great.
So
Thank you
thank you
so
so
much.
much. And we
Okay.
will see you next time on Inner Glow Sessions.